Okay, so after a couple longer lessons, hopefully this is a short review of absolute value. Today we'll work to answer what is absolute value, and then we'll work on evaluating expressions that have absolute values in them. So again, starting with what is absolute value? Absolute value is the distance something is from zero. Okay. And so as we think about distance, distance can't be positive or negative. And so as we look at the absolute value, again, last year we talked about the spa, and things went into the spa and they come out feeling negative. So as we look at -7, when it goes into the spa, it might be negative, but it is 7 units away from 0. The absolute value of 46 is just 46. As we look at this next example over here, if we think of it as number 3, the absolute value of -3 times 9 becomes -27. If we simplify that expression, and then the 27 is, even though it's negative, it's 27 units from 0 in the negative direction, but it's still 27 units away. This next one here, as we look at the opposite of the absolute value of 42, because the sign for the opposite, or the negative sign, is outside the absolute value, 42 comes out feeling positive, but again, as we talked about last year, maybe there's a car accident waiting outside the spa, which makes things negative again. So in that case, the opposite of the absolute value of 42 is -42. Absolute value signs act like brackets, so I need to go ahead and subtract 7 minus 20 in this last example that we have here. That will give us -13, and I'm looking at the absolute value of -13, which ends up being 13. Again, stating it's 13 units from 0. Hopefully that's just a quick review, and we're feeling confident with that. Now we're going to look at some expressions that we need to evaluate. If I think of this as being problem 6, or example 6, and this one being 7, as we look at number 6, again, I need to do anything that's inside parentheses if I'm following PEMDAS, or the order of operations, and absolute value sign symbols are the same as parentheses. So I then look at 52 plus the absolute value of 5 minus 12, which is -7. But again, that's 7 units from 0. So it's 52 plus 7 is how I treat that. And I end up with an answer of 59. And the next one, just looking at some notation here, the 4 outside, or the -4, means that we are multiplying. So this will go and become the -4 times the absolute value of -2. Before I multiply and get a positive answer, I need to change the absolute value of -2 and write that as, pardon me, I'm going to come up here, -4 times 2. And in this case, our final answer is -8. Here we're just throwing a few negatives fractions at us. I'm sure we can handle them, but want to take a look at those. Again, I need to remember to work and simplify within the brackets first, keeping everything that's outside of the brackets. We can leave those alone. So 2 times 12 is 24. 24 minus 6. I'm looking at the absolute value of 18. I have -6 plus 18 plus a half. -6 plus 18 gets us to 12 plus 1/2. And our final answer in this is 12 1/2. For the sake of my writing, I'm going to move this expression up. And again, I need to undo everything that's in the absolute value brackets first. So as I look at that, that becomes 5/4. I'm 5/4 of a unit from 0, plus 2 1/2 just becomes 2 1/2. Here we're adding fractions, but we can handle that. If I think of this as being 2/4, and let me rewrite this in a different color. So 2 1/2 is the same as 2 2/4. 5/4 is the same as 1 1/4. I add the 1/4 plus the 2/4, that gives us 3/4. And then the 1 whole plus 2 wholes ends up being 3. So we end up with 3 3/4. A few of you may work through this and end up with its equivalent improper fraction of 15/4. So that essentially is today's lesson. That's all for today. We'll see you Monday. Hopefully things go well, and we'll just pick up with this on Monday. Enjoy your weekend.